again, Justin, he always, I don't know what he does. Maybe it's his Bud Light picture that just makes him such an easy person to just end up in the crossfire. And from what I understand, this wasn't even supposed to be about him. There was a tweet over the weekend that got everybody on Twitter grumpy. And I gotta say, I don't like just like pulling up tweets if there's not something interesting to talk about alongside them. The tweet is like, the video of Justin Wong saying you gonna learn today and beating up that kid has done, what is it, unrepairable damage to the community and how it treats new players. He is playing Jax, heavy weapons Jax, and you do the rocket launcher and you can hold the button and he holds the rocket launcher like this. And if you hit up, he goes and he shoots it diagonal. So Justin Wong just went online and all he did was shoot rockets at people. This shit did like 12% on hit. Boom, boom, holding the up version, they jump into it, boom. He's just shooting rockets. He runs into a kid. He shoots this kid to death with rockets, and the kid is like yelling, "You're not playing fair." And Justin's yelling, "You gonna learn today."
No, you're not. You're using a cheat mode.
It's pretty funny to this day, I gotta say. The more interesting thing about the clip is the idea that that has done damage to how people treat new people in the community. It reminds me of when people, you may remember a while ago, people got really upset at scrub quotes existing. It was like, scrub quotes are really bad for people who are trying to get into the community, and it like dissuades them from trying to learn. And I've talked about it in both cases. You don't end up on scrub quotes if you lose and you're like, this sucks. I don't know how to stop that. What the hell? There's nothing I can do about this move. It's cheap. And the other person's like, oh, well, this is what you do. And they're like, if I try that, it doesn't work. They're like, no, actually, you can do that and then do this, and then it goes right around it, and you're chilling. And they're like, oh, okay. You end up on scrub quotes when you're like, fuck you, spamming noob, and then you say a bunch of slurs, and then you say you hope they die, and you hope their family dies. It's not an interaction between two people who are like new and trying to learn. I think there's a disconnect in understanding between how people treat beginning and new fighting game players that are interested in the genre and players who are newer or on the lower skill level who are not interested in improving, and they just want to say, hey, fuck you, you spamming noob, I hate you. If anybody treats somebody who's in this column, who's just genuinely trying to learn, like, yeah, well, you're new in town, you gotta go to the salty Splatoon and get beat down into the ground, and you gotta just get that ass beat and then get good like scrub, that kind of attitude and stuff. I don't really think a lot of people approach treating beginners that way, and if they did, I don't think they do anymore. It's not really like a normal attitude. If they treat you like that, that's first of all, I think, an exception probably most of the time, but also that person's just an asshole, and they're probably not that good themselves, and they don't want to give you the answer because they're afraid you'll beat them if they do. Fuck that person. Tell them I said that. When new people struggle with stuff, they come in and they say like, yo, I can't beat this move. I don't know what the hell to do. It's impossible. And I'm like, okay, let's open up training mode and like find a solution. And more and more and more and more fighting game content that is built around improvement, how to learn, how to get better, analysis, what people are doing in the moments, etc., etc., etc. These things get highlighted and brought up more and more and more. And the Justin thing, like, the kid just being upset and being like, fuck, you're cheating, you're shooting rockets, etc. Like, it's just a funny moment that happens because Mortal Kombat has your mic on, and just a lot of wild things happen. If you ever watched a Mortal Kombat streamer, you've heard some despicable things on the microphone when they play that game. To me, if someone is genuinely treating you that way, if they're saying, hey, get good, scrub, you just suck, anytime you have any issue with the game, then they're whack, and just tell me, and I'll tell them that they're whack for you. The only thing I can think of ever where it applies is like when someone's like, hey, I want to get good without practicing. What can I do? And I'm like, well, you kind of just got to get good. You kind of just got to practice and improve at these things. You can do there's other ways to approach it, but you do sort of need to get good. I've been in the community a long time, and maybe it's just my section of the woods. Maybe I don't hang out where people treat new players badly. But in my section of the fighting game community and who I watch and hang out with, it's the opposite. People are like, dude, you're explaining this basic thing like for the 12th time. And I'm like, yeah, well, they weren't here the other 11 times I did it. Justin and lots of other people do a lot of groundwork to try and improve the learning aspect for people who are new to the genre. They will just help you if you ask questions. Like, I was in Diaphone's channel and someone was like, dude, I can't do this with Eno. What do I do? And he's like, I have a video on that. I can help you. On the topic of beatdowns and like the only way to learn to just get beat up, I don't even think most people recommend learning that way. There is always an aspect of losing that's involved with improving, right? There's an aspect of winning as well. The idea that you have to just get beat into the dirt is not for everybody. And I have streamed myself losing horrendously to people in new games or against like matchups I don't know or players who are just very good in so many games. You don't have to learn this way. But for me, I played fighting games a long time, so I'm okay learning in this way, and this is a fine way to approach for me. If you're just like, I don't want to do that, I only want to play other players near my skill level, and this kind of learning is not for me, that's fine too. There's a reason why people run beginner tournaments. In fact, my Discord just started back up beginner tournaments. They used to do beginner tournaments before Strive came out. And then with Strive being new, it was kind of hard to classify like who is a beginner and who's not a beginner in Strive. So they waited for a bit, and now beginner tournaments are back in my Discord. They're very popular. People love beginner tournaments. And resources for new fighting game players to like learn, improve, get better at the game, find answers to their questions are being created more and more and more. My Discord has a beginner bracket. It also has open brackets for console and for PC. Some people will feel bad, like I entered the beginner bracket and I lost, like I didn't do well in the beginner bracket. What the hell? But the thing is it doesn't matter what level you are. If there's 64 people in this bracket, 16 people are going 0-2 no matter what. There's always like a big deal. Capcom Cup starts up, everybody's hype about it. Daigo just goes 0-2 or something. That's Daigo, the legend himself, the beast, going 0-2 in tournament. Well, like, yeah, he's playing against all these people that are the same skill level as him, and he gets smoked. Losing in a beginner bracket against other beginners is expected. Like, what, you think you're just the best beginner? If you're the best beginner and you win the tournament, congratulations, you're no longer a beginner. That is the prize that you get. You're now no longer a beginner. Congrats, get that ass out of here. But you can, of course, just enter the unrestricted tournament that we have all the time. And, the point of this is not to like win the whole thing, right? The point of this is to find other people to play and game with. By creating beginner brackets, you gather a lot of beginners in one place. And so besides just playing in the tournament, whether you win or lose or whatever happens, all of the people in this bracket are here for a beginner bracket. So if you're looking for people to play, instead of just like playing someone on the tower and then they disappear and you never see them again because they ranked up, you can just play someone who's your skill level for as long as you like, whenever they're available, whenever you're available. So you can actually, learn and play together, and it creates that environment where it's cool. Console tournaments happen every other Friday. Wednesdays are when they're running the beginner tournaments every week on PC, and they also run the unrestricted brackets as well. Next week's beginner is Monday with Deb. Oh yeah, I heard that Deb is gonna go and do commentary for the next beginner bracket. I didn't realize it was Monday anyway, so that must be the next one. Daigo had like a video where he talked about like a Japanese singer or like model or someone famous who got like a Croc sponsorship, and Daigo said like that is like a sham. I don't believe that person wears Crocs. He said, I wear my Crocs until the heels are gone. I'm like a true Croc enjoyer, and I don't buy that person wears Crocs like I wear Crocs. And I can tell you, I've seen Daigo over the years. The baby blue Crocs are like a specialty. He is a Croc abuser, He really wears those things out.